When my mother left me at the airport at 15 for a luxury vacation. The shocking truth, it was the summer of my 15th year, and everything shattered in a heartbeat. My mother stood before me at the airport, her suitcase gleaming like a beacon filled with designer clothes and exotic souvenirs I'd never touch. "I'll be back soon," she said, her voice light, as if we were just renting a movie for the weekend. But I could see the truth hidden in her eyes. Behind her smile, there lay a storm brewing, a secret I was too young to grasp. The airport was teeming with people, a rush of humanity swirling around us. I felt as if the world was spinning too fast. The families clung to each other, laughing and crying, joy and sorrow mingling like hot and cold air. Then there was me, left out, standing in the middle of it all, heart racing, palms sweaty. It didn't make sense. Why was she leaving? Why now? Was I that unimportant? As her plane ascended into the clouds, I noticed the little things: the guy next to me bouncing nervously on his toes, the child clutching his mother's leg, eyes wide with fear. Even the announcements that echoed through the terminal felt colder than the air conditioning biting at my skin. I couldn't shake the tightness in my chest. Why did my mother get to escape while I was stuck? A few minutes passed, but it felt like hours. I wandered around, lost in my thoughts, my mother's laughter trailing behind me like a ghost. Then, strangely, I found something shocking: a crumpled letter tucked away in the pocket of her suitcase, hidden among the cashmere sweaters and exotic trinkets. My heart skipped. What had she written? Was it meant for me? Or was it a note to someone else? Hey! Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. But just as I was about to unfold it, I felt a hand on my shoulder. A security guard, tall and imposing, eyed me with concern. "You all right, kid?" he asked, his brow furrowing. My mouth felt dry, and panic surged through me like electricity. The world felt like it was closing in around me. Echoes of laughter turning to whispers, questions bombarding me with silence. "Where's your mom?" he demanded. The lump in my throat tightened further. I pointed at the departing gate, but deep down, I knew she wasn't coming back. The guard looked at me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. And suddenly I realized I was all alone in this chaotic throng of voices and faces. What was my mother really hiding? And would I ever find out? As I felt the weight of that crumpled letter in my hand, a chill ran down my spine. Everything was about to change. The security guard's eyes narrowed as he studied me, his voice dropping to a more serious tone. "You need to stay close. I can't have you wandering around here." His grip tightened ever so slightly, a reminder of my vulnerability. I fought the urge to scream. Was I some lost property? A forgotten item on the airport's long list of transients? My heart pounded harder as I glanced back at the gate where my mother had vanished. Could she hear me? Was she coming back? "Do you have any friends or family we could call?" he continued, his brow knitted with concern. His words felt like nails driving into my chest. I wanted to say no, but instead, I felt my brain racing. I swallowed hard, staring at the crumpled letter in my hand, the dark secret it held burdening me more than the guard's presence. "No," I finally managed to croak, my voice barely above a whisper. I was just a girl lost in this enormous jungle of metal and glass. I needed answers. Maybe that letter could give me some clarity, something to understand why I'd been left behind like some sad afterthought. I shifted slightly to the side to escape the guard's scrutiny. Was this the moment to risk it all? A voice from within whispered it was time to unveil the truth. Following my instincts, I unfolded the letter. Ink smudged slightly, but the words danced before my eyes, and I began to read. "My dearest Emily," the words struck me like a thunderbolt. Suddenly it was as if the bustling airport faded away, replaced by an ocean of my mother's carefully penned thoughts. But with every line I read, the truth became harder to digest. She laid out plans I wasn't supposed to be a part of, adventures and whispered promises meant for another life entirely. Tears blurred my vision. It wasn't just a note. It was a ticket to a world where I didn't belong. My mother spilled her heart onto the paper, revealing dreams of freedom, of life without the restraints of domesticity without me. I felt my heart crack. What did this mean for me? Was I suffocating her? Hey, what are you doing with that? The guard called out, snapping me back to reality. I felt the rush of adrenaline as I quickly folded the letter, shoving it into my pocket. Nothing, just, I stammered, but my heart raced with a fear beyond the guard. I realized I now had knowledge that could transform everything. Let us get you over to the information desk, he said, his voice firm yet gentle. I nodded, the weight of my mother's unfulfilled promises hanging around my shoulders as we moved through the crowd. A sense of urgency prickled at my skin. It was as if everyone around me buzzed with secrets and truths of their own lost treasures just waiting to be uncovered. That letter felt like a map, marking the start of something deeper, something I couldn't quite grasp. The thrill of discovery lay ahead, dangerously close. Just then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A message? Who could be reaching out at a time like this? I glanced down and the name sent a chill through me. Unknown number. My gut twisted. Was it someone from my past? Or even more frightening, someone from my mother's hidden life? Before I could respond, the guard nudged me onward. Come on. Stay focused. You'll be all right. But I felt anything but all right. The stakes were higher than I'd ever imagined. And the truth was a wild card. What awaited me in this tangled web of secrets? What was waiting on the other side of that text? The moment felt charged, a carnival ride teetering at the apex before the plunge. Deep down, I knew the real questions were just beginning to surface. I couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. The airport thrummed around me, a cacophony of announcements and hurried conversations, but all I could hear was the buzz of my phone. I fished it out again, my fingers trembling. The screen lit up with a blinking green, my heart racing to the erratic rhythm of panic. Hey, Emily, we need to talk. The words were as cryptic as they were commanding. Who was this? My mind spiraled through possibilities. A former friend? Someone from school? My stomach knotted. The dread clawed at me like a ravenous beast. I stole a glance at the guard next to me. His focus was locked on the crowd, but I sensed that I had become a puzzle piece to him, one that didn't quite fit. We're almost there, he said, trying to usher me along, but I hesitated, caught in the vice grip of my phone. Meet me at the old coffee shop by gate 14. Trust me, another message chimed in, escalating my anxiety. I felt the weight of the letter and the hidden truths it contained, but now this new figure offered a clandestine rendezvous. Part of me was screaming to run, the other part urged me forward. Did I really want to unveil whatever secrets lay ahead? Emily, the guard's voice broke through my internal conflict. We can't linger here. It's not safe. Safe? I laughed bitterly in my head. Nothing was safe anymore. My mother's absence carved out a hollow in my heart, and each step closer to the information desk felt like I was walking further into a labyrinth filled with sorrows I had yet to confront. I could feel the panic rising. I couldn't speak up, but my feet felt like they were glued to the floor. Where are you? The message blared again. I think I have to go somewhere, I blurted, looking up at the guard with wide, pleading eyes. What do you mean? He asked, furrowing his brow. His concern was genuine, but my instincts screamed that I couldn't reveal everything not yet. The urge to flee overshadowed my trepidation. Just somewhere important, I said, hoping he couldn't see the truth hidden behind my eyes. Stay near me, he insisted, his grip tightening at my arm. Unexpectedly, anger bubbled up inside me. I can't. I have to go. I pulled away and took a step back, feeling the weight of my choices crash down like a heavy wave. His expression turned serious. I could tell he wasn't just a guard anymore, he was a barrier between me and whatever I needed to discover. I glanced around, searching faces in the crowd, desperately trying to spot someone familiar, or even someone who could be a potential ally. But all I saw were strangers. The coffee shop signal loomed larger in my mind. Something was pulling me toward it, the invitation wrapped in undeniable urgency. Emily. The guard took a step closer, voice stern and panicked. You need to stay put. His voice faded as I took off, weaving through the throngs of travelers. I could feel his presence behind me, but adrenaline surged, pushing me forward. Every step thrummed with the possibility of revelation. As I approached gate 14, I felt it. A cold shudder ran down my spine. The coffee shop stood before me, dimly lit and quiet, a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of the airport. Swallowing hard, I paused just outside, the door a yawning mouth of uncertainty. What or who awaited me inside? I took a deep breath and pushed the door open, a rush of cool air greeting me. And that was when I spotted him sitting in the far corner, his back to me, cloaked in mystery. My heart raced. Who was he? Was he the key to unlocking everything that was hidden, or another trap in this twisted game of secrets? I stepped inside, the weight of the world at my back, unsure of what lay ahead but certain of one thing. I was on the precipice of a truth that could change everything. The moment the door swung open, an acrid smell of burnt coffee and dust settled around me like a heavy cloak. My pulse quickened, drowned out by the soft hum of muted conversations. I felt exposed, vulnerable in this universe of secrets and lies. He hadn't moved. My heart beat louder now, an echo of uncertainty. Drawing closer, I noticed the way he sat hunched over, one hand cradling a coffee cup, the other clutching a weathered leather bag like a life raft. "Excuse me," I stammered, feeling the weight of my words hang in the air, simmering with unspoken fears. His head lifted slowly, and as he turned, I was hit with a jolt of recognition. A brother figure from my childhood, someone who had drifted out of my life years ago. "Evan." "Emily," he said, eyes widening with a mix of relief and concern. "You came." "Of course, but why are you here?" I found myself wishing for a hint of the boy I remembered, but the man before me looked aged beyond his years. Shadows danced along his features. "There's a lot you don't know," he said, glancing over my shoulder as if the guards were lurking just outside, waiting to pull me back into the chaos of my reality. "You're in danger." My breath caught. "Danger?" The guard, the phone messages, it all flooded back. "What are you talking about?" "Your mother." His voice cracked, and the emotion hung in the air like a faint mist. "She's not who you think she is. There are things you need to understand, things we both need to confront." "Stop," I declared, my mind racing. "You can't just throw that at me. Where has she been?" "Not all those who leave want to be found," he said, voice heavy with regret and remorse. "There's a reason she left. If you connect the dots, Emily, it leads to something terrifying." An icy wave of anguish washed over me. "You think I haven't tried to piece it all together? I don't have a choice but to go back home and find her. Home isn't safe anymore," Evan urged, his voice low, urgent. "If the people who took her find you before he could finish." The door to the coffee shop burst open, and a trio of stern faces entered, their eyes scanning the room like hawks. I felt a chill race down my spine. Evan's eyes darted to the door and back to me. "You need to go, Emily. Now." "No. I want to leave you." I felt panic engulf me. Pressure rose like a storm. "You have to. Get out." His urgency broke through my defiance. I could see fear etched across his features, pushing my instinct to flee. Leaning closer, he whispered, "They're coming for both of us. If we don't get out now, it's over." In that instant, the atmosphere shifted. The once serene coffee shop turned claustrophobic. I felt trapped between shadows, my childhood fears surfacing alongside the new dread. What was so vital about my mother? What had she done to pull me into this dark vortex of mystery? I needed answers, but power was slipping. I took off, barreling past him, adrenaline kicking in. "Emily!" Evan shouted, his voice fading as I dashed toward the back door. He was wrong. I needed to know the truth, not just run from it. As I burst outside, the humid air collided with my face like a slap. My instincts screamed to keep moving, but I paused. The guards were only moments away from catching me again. Did I expose myself even more by not going home? Or would I find out the secrets my mother had buried deep? With a deep breath, I turned to face the street, a new choice looming in the distance. Now or never I had to choose my path. Would I face the shadows lurking in my past or plunge into the unknown? The weight of everything clung to me, tethering my heart to an uncertain fate. There was no second guessing. I had to keep going. But what awaited me could either bring the deadliest truth or save us both. The moment I hit the street, reality crashed over me like a wave. My heart pounded. I could still feel the weight of Evan's urgency, his words curling around my mind like smoke. I had to move. I darted down the sidewalk, weaving through the scattered crowd. Faces blurred into one another. They were strangers, but I studied them, all their expressions, their movements. Were any of them watching me? Were any of them part of this twisted game? Shouts erupted behind me as footsteps echoed off the brick walls of the coffee shop. Panic surged within me. I couldn't let them catch me. Not now. I glanced over my shoulder, and there they were, 3 figures racing toward me, their faces a mask of determination. As I rounded a corner, my lungs burned. I needed a plan. My phone buzzed in my pocket, breaking the silence of my frantic thoughts. Should I answer it? What if it was about my mother? But who could I trust? I swerved into an alley, the shadows swallowing me whole. The narrow space felt suffocating. My breath came in short gasps as I pressed myself against the wall, hoping to blend in with the dark. Peering out, I saw the guards, their eyes scanning every inch of the street like predators seeking their prey. I closed my eyes for a second, trying to silence the chaos in my head. The world outside was relentless, but my mind spiraled back to Evan's words. Things you need to confront. My mother was a threat? How could that be? The mantra of survival kicked in. Thoughts skittered around my head like flocks of startled birds. I had to keep moving, had to find a way out. Emerging from my hiding place, I crept deeper into the alley, my senses heightened. A flickering neon sign from a nearby diner illuminated the darkness. It felt like a beacon of hope, yet another choice to make. I could crash inside, grab a coffee to plan my next move, or keep running until my legs gave out. My stomach clenched at the prospect of running into the hands of my pursuers again. But I needed information, allies even. I swallowed hard and pushed through the glass door of the diner, the familiar jingle of the bell above surprising me. The scent of greasy fries and burnt bread hit me with a wave of nostalgia. Diners had been a refuge during my childhood, but now this one felt different. Eyes turned toward me, whispering with a mixture of curiosity and caution. I slipped into a booth at the back, the vinyl sticky and worn but a small comfort. I had no order to place, my heart still racing from the chase outside. Instead, I focused on the patrons, couples sharing furtive glances and old men absorbed in newspapers. I scanned the room for anyone who looked like they knew anything. As I thought of my mother, the weight in my chest grew heavier. What had she hidden? The long shadows in Evan's words loomed larger. My phone buzzed again, the vibration sending shocks through me. With trembling fingers, I pulled it from my pocket. A message. It's not over, Emily. Trust no one. My breath hitched. Trust no one? Was it a warning or a trap? The anxiety wrapped around my throat like a vice. Suddenly, the door swung open again, and the guards stepped inside. My heart dropped. I ducked low, the diner shifting around me like a bad dream. They scanned the room, eyes narrowing as if they could sense that I was close. I couldn't sit still anymore. I had to decide. Should I bolt once more? Or was there a way to confront whatever nightmare my mother had created? As the guards approached my booth, their voices growing louder, a figure slipped past them, unnoticed. A familiar face I hadn't seen in years. Someone who could either be my salvation or my doom. What would they reveal about my mother's true past? The truth I had been avoiding was now barreling toward me like an oncoming train. With a pounding heart, I strained to see the familiar face that had slipped past the guards. The shadows of the diner flickered and danced as the figure turned toward me, And in that instant, I felt the world tilt beneath my feet. It was Sarah, my childhood best friend. How had she even known to find me here? Her eyes were wide with fear, yet there was a glimmer of recognition that sparked a rush of memories. I opened my mouth to call out, but the guards were getting closer, and I had to act. I waved my hand, hoping to catch her attention without alerting anyone else. Sarah hesitated, chewing her lip, before her instinct kicked in. She slid into the booth across from me and leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. "Emily, I saw them coming. What are you doing here? You have to go now." "But the guards," I stammered, glancing over my shoulder. They were scanning the diner, their suspicions tangible. My heart raced as I fought between running and staying still, between being discovered and getting answers. "They're looking for you," she said sharply, urgency cutting through the clutter of my thoughts. "I've been trying to reach you. Your mother, she's dangerous. And I know things she wouldn't want me to tell you." A chill ran down my spine. "What things?" I breathed, my throat tightening with dread. Before she could answer, the metal clink of a chair sounded behind us, and I turned to see one of the guards prowling nearer. Every instinct screamed for me to bolt, yet I felt anchored there, rooted by the potential of what Sarah could reveal. "Emily," she pressed, her voice wavering, "they're not just after you. They want the truth from her, and it's tied to you. If they find you, I can't just run away." I hissed, a cold wave of anger coursing through my panic. "I need to know what's happening." The urgency in her gaze intensified, and she leaned closer. "Your mother? She's involved in something far beyond us, something dark. I can't explain here, but if you trust me, I have a plan." Just as the guards passed our table, my breath hitched, a warning instinct flaring inside me. The weight of the moment pressed down on us, and for an agonizing heartbeat, I believed we had been spotted. But as they moved on, I locked eyes with Sarah, desperate for answers. "What do you know?" I whispered fiercely. Her expression turned grave. "She left you at the airport for a reason. There's a hidden story, Emily, and you're part of it. You have to confront her. But now you have to choose. Run or stay." A driven pulse throbbed in my temple. I had spent too long in the dark. "I'll confront her. But I need you with me." "Okay," she said, visibly relieved. "But we need to move," or suddenly, a loud crash shattered the moment. One of the guards had spotted me. The diner erupted into chaos. People yelling, chairs scraping, and footsteps pounding on the floor. My heart raced as I shot up from the booth, Sarah grabbing my arm. "Follow me." We plunged into the mass of panic, adrenaline surging. The door burst open, and cold air hit us as we dashed outside, the hunt on our heels. As we vaulted down the street, I could feel the weight of my mother's secrets and the hunt behind us. The question loomed larger than ever: were we running toward freedom or straight into the fire? All I knew was that I had to uncover the truth, and it was coming for me. Would I brave the depths of my mother's darkness? Or would it consume everything I thought I knew about my life? The shadows trailed us, and the urgency grew heavier with each step. Behind us, I heard a shout, a name cutting through the din of the moment. "Emily!" And just like that, the real chase began. What awaited on the other side of this confrontation? Would I be ready to face my mother's past, even if it meant dismantling everything I understood about family and loyalty? I sprinted into the night, Sarah's grip firm on my arm as we maneuvered through the throng of startled pedestrians. Their startled faces blurred into a mosaic of confusion and fear, just as mine felt, drowning in adrenaline and uncertainty. "Over here," Sarah shouted, veering down a narrow alleyway, the air thick with the tang of garbage and the chill of uncertainty clinging to my skin. The fear radiating from her actions pulsed through me, reminding me that this wasn't just a matter of escape. It was a game of survival. As we turned the corner, a sudden silence enveloped us, the chaos of the street fading away behind us. I set my back against the damp bricks, my chest heaving with the effort to catch my breath. "What now?" I gasped, panic bubbling just beneath the surface. "We can't just run forever." Sarah surveyed our surroundings, urgency mixing with determination. "We need to find somewhere safe. They won't stop looking for you. You have to hide until we can figure this out. She pulled me deeper into the alley, the shadows thickening as darkness loomed around us. There's a place I know, an old storage unit a few blocks from here. It's discreet and we can plan from there. Plan what? My voice was barely above a whisper as I felt dread creep into my thoughts. What are we even fighting against? Answers, she said, her jaw set. I told you. It's about your mother, the things she's involved in. We have to get you away from here. And before she could finish, the echo of heavy footsteps sounded from the street. My breath caught in my throat, and I locked eyes with Sarah. Go, she hissed, yanking me further down the alley for what felt like our only escape route. I followed, dread settling like lead in my stomach as we raced past stacks of crates and forgotten debris. We turned left, then right, weaving through the darkness until we found the storage unit. Sarah fumbled with her keys, her hands shaking just as much as mine. Every second felt like an eternity. I could still hear the distorted calls of the guards floating through the cool night air. Come on, she urged, finally forcing the door open with a grating creak. We slipped inside, heartbeats pounding in unnerving harmony. The inside was cluttered, shadows wrapping around us tightly. I pressed my back against the wall, a wave of claustrophobia swamping me. The musty air filled my lungs, and I tried to focus, but all I could think about was what Sarah had said, my mother's secrets. The chase, the danger lurking only steps away. Now what? I whispered urgently, each word a struggle to escape my throat. Now we figure out what you're up against, Sarah said, her voice steady but low. But first, I need you to trust me completely. I need you to promise you won't ask me to leave again. I promise, I said, sensing the gravity of this moment. But we don't even know what we're facing. The look in her eyes shifted, and I saw a flicker of something: resolve, fear, urgency. That's exactly it. We don't know, but we have to find out before they do. Just then, a loud bang echoed from the main entrance, the force shaking the walls around us. They're coming, I breathed, fear twisting in my gut. Hide, Sarah shouted, pushing me behind a pile of boxes as we held our breaths, straining to hear the footsteps growing louder. But in that instant, a voice broke through the noise, one I recognized instantly. Emily, I know you're in here. It was my mother. Each heartbeat thudded painfully in my ears, drowning out the rising surge of panic. I was cornered. Would I confront her, demand answers, or remain hidden, hoping for survival? Would I step out of the shadows into the truth, or would I be forced into a darkness I wasn't ready for? The abruptness of my mother's voice sent a jolt straight through me, cranking the tension in the room up to a breaking point. I pressed myself harder into the stacks of boxes, an urge to bolt surging within me, while a pang of desperation settled in my throat. Emily, her voice called again, sharp and urgent. I'm not mad. I just need to talk to you. Please come out. It's a trap, Sarah whispered, fear threading her words. Her eyes were wide, darting toward the door. She won't stop until she finds you. What if she can help us? I replied, my voice shaking. The hope of understanding, of family, began to blossom alongside the fear. It's not safe, Sarah insisted, her eyes pleading. I know your mother. She is not who you think she is. You need to trust me. A moment of silence draped over us, filled with the distant sounds of boots, shuffling, and whispers of the guards outside. My mind raced, replaying every encounter I'd had with my mother, every fleeting moment of connection overshadowed by the uncertainty of her current intentions. Please just trust me, Sarah's anxiety wrapped around me like a cold blanket. I wanted to scream that I couldn't simply hide anymore. But the sound of footsteps, heavy and purposeful, pulled me swiftly back into reality. Emily, my mother's voice cracked, vulnerability seeping through her stern demeanor. Honey, I swear I only want to protect you. The warmth of her words battled against my instinct for survival. My pulse quickened. Could there be truth in her pleas? Suddenly, the door swung wide open. My heart plummeted into my stomach as the dim light spilled across the room. A figure stepped inside, silhouetted against the exit like a shadow birthed from nightmare, a man in a black jacket, his expression unreadable, but exuding intensity that spun the room's already fragile atmosphere into a dizzying spiral of dread. "Grant," Sarah gasped, recognition flooding her face. "Why are you here?" "Looking for you too, of course." His voice dripped with sarcasm, but it held a cruel edge to it. "You think you could just run away and I wouldn't care? Leave us alone," I shouted, pushing back against the boxes, urgency spilling out in my words as I edged closer to the door. "You don't belong here." "Oh, but I do," he smirked, stepping further inside, his demeanor confident, bordering on cocky. "And your mother cares more about me than you even know." I shot a quick glance to Sarah, searching for support. The fire in her eyes gave me a sliver of courage I didn't know I had. "Emily, listen to me," she said, raising her voice a notch. "We need to get out of here." He won stop at anything. "Stop," my mother interjected, stepping into the light, her panic resurfacing in her features. "That's not true. He's here to help us." "Help?" I scoffed, anger boiling within me. "He's one of them. I don't want to hurt you," Grant said softly, but I could feel the sting of deception laced in his tone. "Trust your mother. She knows what's at stake." "Don't listen to him," Sarah shouted, her hands clenched into fists. "We have to go now." The room crackled with tension, the space between us pulsing with uncertainty and urgency. My mother's gaze locked onto mine, a churning storm of emotions evident in her expression. In that moment, something shifted. Grant was becoming desperate. I could see it in how he looked back at my mother, a flicker of doubt rolling through him as he glanced at the door, gauging his next move. "Emily, you have to believe me," my mother cried, taking a step toward me. But before I could respond, the sound of footsteps suddenly echoed louder from outside, more than just single figures now. Hearts raced. Was it reinforcements? My body tensed. The choice loomed before me. Would I dare to trust the woman who'd been so absent, now standing in front of me as a question rather than a resolution? "Sarah, we have to go," I whispered, every ounce of fear flowing through me as I tried to grasp the gravity of this moment, the truth racing just out of reach. And then a booming voice shouted from outside, setting the stage for action. "This is the police. Open the door." In an instant, chaos surged. Would I step forward and confront the tangled web of my past? Or was it too late to turn back from the brink? The door shuddered against the weight of the pounding fists, the urgency reverberating through the air like a shockwave. I could feel my heart racing, each beat echoing the panic thrumming in the room. "Emily, now!" Sarah barked, pulling me away from my hesitation. There was no time to think, no time to question. The choice had to be made. Grant's eyes flicked between my mother and the door, calculating. "They're just trying to intimidate you. Don't let them win," he urged, his voice low but smooth like silk over fire. A part of me wanted to believe him, wanted to escape this hell of confusion. "Get behind me," my mother commanded, her presence forcing me to pay attention. "They're not our friends. I'm telling you. You must trust me." Before I could reply, the door gave way under the pressure, crashing into the wall with a deafening thud. The scene flooded my senses. Officers clad in dark uniforms, expressions serious, weapons drawn. On the ground. "Now!" one shouted, sweeping the room with his gaze. Fear gripped me like a vice. I was enveloped in chaos, in a maelstrom of authority, and all I wanted was to escape. "Emily!" Sarah shouted, pushing me behind her as if she could protect me from the whole world. My mother's hand shot out, gripping my wrist. Her touch jolted me. This was my mother, and I felt her fear electrify the air. "Don't you dare resist," another officer threatened, eyes piercing through the haze of smoke and shadows. As the officers advanced, I could see Grant's confidence faltering. He stepped back slowly, eyeing the officers as if weighing his options. "I don't think you should shut up," my mother barked, her voice breaking. "Just get down. We can explain," but it was too late. The police moved towards us, and one officer swiftly closed in on Grant, shoving him backwards with force. "You're coming with us," he snarled, and just like that, the dynamic shifted. "Now is our chance," Sarah hissed, and I felt the urgency burning in her voice. My instincts kicked in. We had to make a choice right now or risk everything. In a flash, I yanked away from my mother's grip. I shot a glance at Sarah, her determination igniting a flicker of hope. Now, we pushed past the chaos, dashing toward a side exit I had spotted during all the madness. My heart thundered as adrenaline surged through me. "Emily, no," my mother pleaded, desperation washing over her as I turned back to see her face twisted in anguish. But I couldn't stop. "Go, go," Sarah urged as we barreled through the door and into the dim hallway beyond, leaving my mother's cries behind us. We raced down a corridor, the air thick with tension, footsteps echoing behind us. Sarah took the lead, her silhouette a beacon in the low light. How far could we really run? "Do you know where we're going?" I gasped, panting hard. "Anywhere but here," she replied, determination hardening her voice. Just then, another loud crash erupted behind us. Dread twisted in my stomach. The officers wouldn't stop chasing us. The sound of raised voices filled the air, mingling with our footsteps. Suddenly, we skidded to a stop. Ahead lay two paths. One veered left toward a set of stairs, the other right into a darkened room. My mind raced. Which way would lead to safety? The distant shouts of officers grew louder behind us, the urgency pressing in. With a deep breath, I took a step toward the left corridor. But right before I entered, something powerful slammed against my heart. My mother's face, contorted with fear and regret, haunted my thoughts. "Emily," she had cried. As I hesitated, Sarah glanced back, her expression a mix of fear and impatience. "We need to decide now. Just give me a second," I stammered. What if we were leaving behind the very thing that could help us? From behind, the sound of footsteps surrounded us. The door we had escaped through burst open again, the officers ready to close in on our last chance. With no time left, I took a leap of faith. I darted to the right and flew into the dark room, pulling Sarah swiftly inside. The shadows swallowed us whole, hiding us from imminent danger. But as I caught my breath, a thought lodged in my throat. What lay ahead could be worse than what we fled. What secrets had my mother hidden, and what would we find behind those closed doors? The air in the room was thick and suffocating. I could barely breathe as I fumbled for the light switch, my heart racing like a runaway train. The door rattled behind us, echoing the panic in my chest. But there was no turning back now. With trembling hands, I flicked the switch, and the harsh fluorescent lights flickered into existence. As the glow filled the room, my eyes darted around, absorbing the details: crates piled high, dusty shelving units lining the walls, and shadows creeping like lingering regrets. This place felt wrong, like an old wound that had never healed. But there was no time for second-guessing. I needed answers, and every fleeting moment felt urgent. "Where are we?" I whispered, the question hanging heavy in the air. This was my mom's old storage unit. Sarah moved cautiously, her voice barely breaking through the silence. "She used to stow away important things in here, things I think your mom was involved with." My throat tightened at the mention of my mother. I had been avoiding the truth, but it was here right in front of me, waiting to be unearthed. I took a step forward, my pulse thrumming in my ears, as uncertainty clouded my mind. Was this room a safe haven, or another trap woven into the fabric of my mother's life? "Look for anything," I urged, my voice steady now with purpose. "Anything that might explain why she left or what she was hiding." Sarah nodded and began to peel away boxes, the dust rising in soft clouds around us. I joined her, the adrenaline pushing me to dig deeper, faster. Each cardboard box felt like a secret waiting to be uncovered, vibrant memories getting lost in shadowed corners. I began rifling through the contents of a nearby crate: old pictures, faded journals, bits and pieces of a life I didn't understand. And then, I found it: a small, ornate box tucked in the back, its surface intricately carved. My fingers brushed over it, a chill rushing down my spine as if it possessed a life of its own. "Help me with this," I said breathlessly, gesturing for Sarah. Together, we pried it open, the hinges creaking in protest. Inside lay several photographs and letters, bundled together with a fragile ribbon. Each letter bore my mother's handwriting, its loops and curls tracing the memory of a woman whose love felt so distant. The first letter I unfolded sent shivers through me. It wasn't written to me, but to someone named Grace. Grace, we cannot keep this up. He.s. getting suspicious, and I'm afraid if I don't comply, he'll come after Emily. We need to find a way out. I felt heat rise in my cheeks. My mother, planning something terrible where I was the pawn, a hostage in her intricate game. The words burned through me. Sarah, she was scared. Who is he? Someone from her past. Someone who holds power over her. Sarah said, her voice shaking. The kind of people who never let go, and she left you to protect you from them. Suddenly, the weight of my mother's decisions crashed down on me, her fear and anguish intertwining with my own. It dawned on me then I was standing at the crossroads of her past and present, the heavy burden of our fates now resting on my shoulders. A loud crash at the door jolted us back to the moment. We have to go. Now, Sarah hissed, panic breaking the urgency of her voice. I shoved the letters back into the box, locking away my mother's secrets for another day, and we raced towards the back exit. I pushed through the door, stumbling into the dimly lit hallway. The air was colder out here, an unsettling stillness creeping back over everything. Just then, a sharp command echoed from the depths of the storage unit. Emily, stop. I froze, my breath hitching in my throat. My mother's voice laced with desperation, a plea filled with protective instincts. Please, just listen to me. Her figure appeared at the end of the hallway, eyes wide with fear. I'm not your enemy. The tension surged like a tidal wave. A part of me wanted to bolt, to run away from all the uncertainty. But another part deep down yearned for resolution. I locked eyes with her, scanning the line between rage and longing that ran through me. Why? Why did you leave? Why now? I demanded, each word falling like stones between us. The chaos faded for a moment, replaced by the weight of unspoken truths. I did it to protect you. I thought if I got far enough away, they could never find you, she cried, taking a tentative step toward me. But I know I hurt you, and I'll never forgive myself. I never wanted this for us. Then take me with you. I was almost pleading now, the vulnerability surfacing beneath my frustration. I don't want to hide anymore. I want to understand. She hesitated, the anguish in her features softening, and I could see it, the desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, we could find a way to piece together this shattered bond. Footsteps echoed down the hallway, the guards closing in, but in that moment, I felt as if time had slowed. I had a choice to make. Emily, we don't have much time, my mother said urgently, glancing back toward the door. If we don't act now, we might lose everything. And just like that, the chaos erupted again. I grabbed Sarah's hand, pulling her closer as I took a deep breath, ready to face the fates waiting for us outside. If you're with me, we'll figure this out together. Her grip tightened, and I knew we were heading into the unknown, but this time, with purpose. I turned back to my mother, determination flooding through my veins. Let us end this together, I declared. And with that, we stepped forward into the blinding light of the hallway, ready to unearth the truths and chaos entwined in our lives. The chase wasn't over, but now we were armed with knowledge, resolve, and the fragile thread of family bonding us closer as we faced whatever awaited us at the end. As we burst through the door, the cacophony of the world swirled around us, but our voices together cut through the noise. From that moment on, we would see this fight to the end. I would no longer be just a girl abandoned at the airport. I would rise from the ashes of my mother's choices and forge our paths anew. We would confront the darkness together. Life was calling us forward, and I was ready. You need to subscribe now to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support for the journey ahead. Smash that like button immediately to feed the algorithm and keep the magic alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. Tell me everything you're thinking. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this explosive conclusion. Your support means everything. Let's keep growing as a community together.